Welcome to the On the Pen, the weekly dose podcast, your one-stop shop for obesity medicine news with your host, ManOnThePen, Dave Knapp. Welcome to the Tuesday, October 15th edition of On the Pen, the weekly dose podcast. It's good to be here with you today. I'm your host, Dave Knapp, ManOnThePen. That's why I'm here. You are on the pen. Wegovy, Saxenda, Victoza, Trulicity, Mounjaro, Zepbound, Compound, that pen. That is why you're here. You're here for all the news, and we thank you for joining us each week. I hope you enjoy the podcast each week. If you do, give it a 5-star rating and review. That helps other people enjoy it. Many people are just tuning in as they are just starting some version of GLP-1 medication, incretin mimetic, or obesity therapy, and we cover all the news here. And of course, we can't talk about the news this week without talking about the saga that we've been dealing with in the realm of compound Tirzepatide. Now, there has been so much going on, and I'm going to start by saying we have covered this extensively at On the Pen, absolutely extensively, since this really started back at the beginning of October. And you can go back and kind of look at OnThePen.com. We've been covering this so closely at OnThePen.com, starting at the beginning of October, talking about the human toll of removing Tirzepatide from the shortage list, all the way up to what to do if you're compounding using compound medications and you're stockpiling, all the way to the trial that's going on. Basically, what happened is the Outsourcing Facilities Association, 503B Pharmacy Association, sued the FDA, and it has been moving fast and furious. And so we've got all the updates. We talked a little bit at the end of last week about Judge Pittman, who was assigned to this case, and why that probably was going to bode well if you are relying on compounded medications. And very early on, as the OFA basically filed for a temporary restraining order to restrain the FDA's ability to enforce anything during the trial, the FDA came out and went, whoa, give us till November 21st. We will reevaluate whether we want Tirzepatide on the shortage list. And on the surface, this is really good because over the next few weeks, it allows 503B pharmacies to continue to compound Tirzepatide, continue to offer it without fear of enforcement by the FDA. But I think it's a very important distinction to know that this did not put Tirzepatide back on the shortage list. So when you look at this article here, where we talked about the avalanche of cease and desist letters that were sent out to compound pharmacies, to telemedicine companies, to I don't know if any medical providers received them this round, but basically if you got a chance to look at any of those, I have several of them, but was asked to not share them on line. If you look at them, basically they all harken back to the fact that the FDA removed Tirzepatide from the shortage list, and their expectation is that people would cease and desist the marketing and the sale of these medications. So while the FDA will not be enforcing anything during this brief pause in this trial, Eli Lilly has demanded that by this Thursday, folks have ceased and desisted in the sale, the promotion, the advertising of compound Tirzepatide. So I don't think this will derail Eli Lilly's strategy to enforce their patents. And so I think you may see a very interesting development coming next week, because ultimately you've had some telemedicine companies who have decided that this was just a free season to continue to sell. And I don't think that Eli Lilly will see it that way. So of course, if you rely on compound medications and you have the opportunity to get a buffer of medication from your provider, now would be the time, because I'm not sure what it's going to look like after next week, once the cease and desist 7 days has elapsed and Eli Lilly has the opportunity to basically be a little bit more heavy-handed in the way that they enforce their patent. So we'll have to watch this. closely. Of course, we've been following it so closely here at OnThePen, and we will continue to follow it extremely closely. Make sure that you go over to the website and check out the GLP news section, because if you haven't checked this out, you're missing out. You can sign up for email alerts. Typically, we'll drop a weekly rundown of the top 3 stories from the website of the week. So just a great way to stay in touch with the information that's going on with all things incretin mimetics, obesity therapies, and type 2 diabetes treatments. Of course, if you yourself are interested in treatments for obesity and what's out there from a medical perspective, look no further than our partners at Row. Row is a sponsor of OnThePen, the Weekly Dose podcast, and they have a program called the Row Body Program, of which I am a part. In the Row Body Program, patients lose 10 to 15% of their body weight in a year when coupled with lifestyle modifications. Of course, if you're looking at starting any new medicine, you want to be informed on everything about these medications. So make sure you check out row.co/OTP, where you'll learn all about the Row Body Program. And there is definitely, within just a couple of clicks, all the information you need to know about side effects. Of course, starting any treatment, you want to be very, very informed. And they have so much information at row.co/OTP for OnThePen. Let them know OnThePen sent you if you go over there to Row. And thank you to Row for sponsoring this podcast each week. There are some super, super exciting developments in the world of type 2 diabetes treatment, especially if you're someone who relies on insulin for your type 2 diabetes treatment. Now, this is a very, very fascinating study. It was a small study, but a promising study that was done by Dutch researchers involving 14 patients with type 2 diabetes. And we've covered some other things like this on OnThePen, but this one I thought was a fascinating one, because this one involved a treatment, a new novel treatment coupled with weekly dosing of Ozempic. So let's take a look. The key findings after 6 months of this study were that 12 out of 14 patients no longer needed supplemental insulin. And the study combined a weekly injection of Ozempic, semaglutide, like we said, and an innovational intestinal procedure called RECET, RECET, which stands for endoscopic recellularization via electroporation therapy. That is a mouthful. Basically, that is a bunch of medical gobbledygook to let you know that it is a non-invasive, one-time outpatient procedure that uses pulsed electrical fields to, get this, regenerate the cells in the duodenum, a part of the small intestine. Now, if you saw the interview that we did on OnThePen Live a couple weeks back with Dr. Daniel Rosen, who was a bariatric surgeon, we talked a little bit about some of these studies that have gone on about the resurfacing of the mucosal lining in the gut. This would be one such procedure. And the goal is to improve blood sugar control by restoring normal duodenum function, which is disrupted in type 2 diabetes patients. After undergoing this procedure, this outpatient procedure called RECET, patients were also placed on a 2-week liquid diet and given weekly doses of Ozempic. 86% of the participants in this trial remained insulin-free at 6, 12, and 24 months. 2 years, 86% were off of insulin. That is amazing and astounding news as we talk about the different procedures that may be coupled with medication coming down the pike that could absolutely disrupt these metabolic diseases that have been such a burden, not only on individual patients, but on the healthcare system at large. This is fantastic. HbA1c levels, so they measure your A1c, which is like a 3-month rolling average that they take from your blood, tell you how high your blood sugars have been, stayed below 7.5% for all participants, indicating effective management of diabetes. And the beauty of this treatment is that it's a one and done thing. It gets to the root cause of the issue, where your mucosal lining in your duodenum the cells are not functioning properly to help aid appropriately in digestion. So really, it's amazing with very few side effects, only one out of the 14 reported mild nausea. And so that is really, really astounding when you think of the amazing benefits that people may gain by a one-time treatment after 24 months, 86% off of insulin. This is amazing. We will link the show in the show notes a little bit more about this treatment, but this is really promising if you are somebody who not only deals with the disease of obesity, but type 2 diabetes like myself. This is amazing news. Now, shifting another exciting little housekeeping announcement that I wanted to share with you all was that we have opened up a Sticker Mule store. This is where I get all of the stickers that you see behind me. Of course, we have, the classic and the Sue the Dude. We've got the sauce behind me here as well. All of that is going to be available for you at stickermule.com/OnThePen. We'll link it in the show notes as well. But this is really exciting because I've designed, obviously, you'd noticed probably the new logo that we've rolled out here for OnThePen, the OTP logo, which is super, super cool. We've designed a t-shirt that has that logo on it. Of course, you can get the stickers that I just showed you, the original ManOnThePen, the Rocket Man, I think, as Mel dubbed it back in the day. You can get all these stickers at stickermule.com or the t-shirts. I'm super excited about this one. I designed this one, just kind of a collegiate t-shirt. All of those things are going to help support the channel, but you can get some of that OTP swag as well. I hope that you'll check out the new store at stickermule.com/OnThePen. Again, we'll link it in the show notes. We'll probably put a link up on the website as well so that you can check that out. I hope that you enjoy that. I'm excited to get some of those t-shirts in the mail in the next couple of days. And we've also got some more exciting things that we've got coming as well. Some personalized items that we'll have for giveaways on the channel, especially for those of you who are members of the channel, those of you who choose to gift the channel with super chats, or many of you will very generously drop a donation to Cash App or Venmo if you appreciate the work that we do. So thank you for those who do that. Now, this is a really, really exciting thing to get into. Just a novel approach to, of all things, getting people back to work. A joint study being done in the UK between Eli Lilly and their government there, basically offering to a small amount of patients who are out of the workforce and deal with and live with chronic obesity access to Mounjaro. And over the course of the study, what they're going to monitor is basically how people do when their obesity is treated as far as their labor force participation. Now, in the United States, this is a huge problem. You may say unemployment is really low in the United States. Actually, the years ago, they stopped counting people who had dropped out of the labor force in general. Now, of course, I think what we'll find, and I think what Eli Lilly is banking on here, is that when you treat people with chronic disease with a treatment that actually gets to the issue that they're facing metabolically, you might find that people have an increased ability to go and do the daily tasks required of a job. So maybe an increase in labor participation. Now, these are the types of things that are not included, the potential of these medications that are not included in things like the study that we saw come out from the Congressional Budget Office a couple of weeks ago, which effectively said that, over the next 8 years, it's going to cost Medicare $32 billion. Now, we covered this closely on the pen, and as I mentioned in a video that I did over here, that's about 0.64%, less than 2/3 of 1% of what we spent on COVID response. So I think, these headlines it's going to bankrupt Medicare. Like, if we found the money for COVID to the tune of hundreds of times greater magnitude of spending, we can find it, because ultimately sick people deserve access to medication. And that definitely includes our friends on Medicare who deserve treatment and are living with some of the comorbidities that are very serious: sleep apnea, high blood pressure, heart failure, all of these things that, stem out from the disease of obesity. They deserve that treatment. They can come up with that money. But, even looking broader more broader as to what these medications and the implications of accessibility to these medications can do for the overall economy just by increasing productivity, because finally sick people are getting treatment. I think it's amazing to think about. The future is so bright. That's why we have dedicated a good portion of my own personal life and my own personal time to OnThePen and bringing you the news every week on all of these treatments that are absolutely changing the game. Before I let you go, I just want to encourage everyone to check out Row, our sponsor. Check out the Sticker Mule store. But more than anything, this week, it's incredibly important that you report the shortage. Use the hashtag report the shortage. Now, we'll link in the description of this channel video as far as where you can report the shortage with the FDA. Of course, you can always use the Row tracker tool, row.co/supply-tracker. But these are tools that will ultimately report when you cannot find your brand name medication. If you hold a prescription for brand name Zepbound or Mounjaro and you go to fill at your local pharmacy and they cannot get it, or they cannot give you a time when they can get it, that is the time that you report the shortage. And so if that's you, definitely use the Row tracker tool, or the FDA has its own reporting tool. It's just a little bit more cumbersome and doesn't offer some of the perks that the Row tracker tool does. But however you report the shortage, do it. And then if you are a content creator and you are sharing about your experience with the shortage, use the hashtag report the shortage. It is so important as the FDA takes the next few days or next few weeks, I should say, to reevaluate the shortage, that they hear from you, that they hear from the people on the ground, that it's not just that I have to call multiple pharmacies to find it. It's that the pharmacies that I call can't tell me when the distributor can even get it. And that is, flies in the face of what we're hearing from the FDA, what we're hearing from Eli Lilly. That is definitely what I'm hearing from the community. If you are having issues, drop it in the comments of this video. If you're listening to the podcast and would like to see the video version of this, you can check it out at our YouTube channel, OnThePen. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being the best part of what we do at OnThePen. I couldn't, wouldn't, and shouldn't do it without you. Of course, we're going to have a great show for you this Thursday night, where we do our live show on YouTube every Thursday night, 9 p.m. Central. We have got some great wall-to-wall coverage of the Zepbound shortage, of the of what's going on with this trial. We're going to cover it so closely. Hopefully, we'll get to hear this week from Scott Bruner, next week from Scott Bruner, the CEO of the Alliance of Pharmacy Compounding. And hopefully we'll hear from Eli Lilly. Hopefully they'll bring somebody on to tell their side of the story too. But until next week, have a great week. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being the best part of what we do. And we'll catch you on the next one.